Hey, welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, another subject that just constantly keeps coming up and keeps coming up, probably because it concerns people a lot. Now, according to the statistical reports that we see on our channel, we can have a look at who views what, who likes what, how many times they viewed it, where they come from, the country, and all of this. All information which is supposed to help us to give a better service and create a better channel. And one of the things that seems to interest people the most, probably because they oppose it, deny it, resist it, and that is age and looks. And someone's just messaged and said, "Terence, please grow your beard back because without it you look old." Now, once again, people present their viewpoint and they're entitled to it, just the same as I'm entitled to it. And then right below it is a friend of ours, a lady, Miss K, and she says, that was Chris, by the way, our friend Chris, who is a regular subscriber, an active commentator, commenter, and we welcome all of these viewpoints, right? Even though they're about my personal appearance. Okay, so it's all about age, and Miss K says, "No, I don't think that men know very little about what is attractive to women." Well, what I know about the beard thing, personally, I liked having a beard. Yeah, I just did. I thought it looked more like that of an artist or an author. But there's somebody that I tend to actually feel is very important in my life, and that's my lovely wife. And as I said in my comment, if she doesn't fancy me, then, well, what the heck? So she wanted me to be clean-shaven, and tell you the truth, nothing's that important to me. So I shaved it off. Do I regret it? Yes, I do, because now I have to shave every damn day, and if I don't, I have to agree with Chris that I start looking old. So what's in the looking old? What's in the being old syndrome? Wow, that's a grand name for it, isn't it? Just getting old. Well, I've been very fortunate in my life in that I've managed to age reasonably well. My next birthday is 78 years old. Now, for a lot of people that might tend to criticize how I look or how I don't look, or whether I do look old or don't look old or whatever, first of all, may I hazard a guess and say that you will be lucky to reach my age, and you will be even more lucky if you reach it like I did. And I have been extremely blessed. I don't take any medication, like nothing. If I have a headache, I suffer the headache. I do something else, think about something else. I don't take a pill. I'm not a great lover of pills. When I really have to, I'll take one. But I don't actually, I'm not on any one pill. Believe me, the pharmaceuticals will create a disease, an infection, a malady, a little allergy or something, and then when they've created it, like, I don't know, nose tagliati porti, and that's what you've got. And they'll give you some symptoms, and you think, oh my God, I have it, I've got it in nose tagliati porti. But they say, don't worry. There's a pill you can take. You can just take this little pill every day. You won't feel a thing. And they've got you on a pill. How long will you have to take it? Well, this is not such good news, but you will be relieved. So bear this in mind the rest of your life. And they say that very quickly. So you're on a pill for the rest of your life? I don't think so for me. So, here I am, and I'm going to get, maybe I'll get a bit conceited or arrogant and say that if you get to my age, you'll look twice as old as me. Who knows? And I paid for my good health up front. A lot of people pay for their ill health up front by smoking, by doing a lot of drinking, by abusing all of these things, and pill popping, right? So all of these things have a back pay, they have a balloon payment at the rear end, and usually it's right up your rear end, because getting old is not a great fun trip generally anyway, but getting old and not feeling good is even worse. So how do you attack the age thing? Well, first of all, obviously, if a beard look makes you look better and everybody's happy with that, well, then grow a damn beard. And if the one you love the most, who is the most important person in your life, the one whose face you look at just before you go to sleep, and whose face you wake up to in the morning, if she says, I don't like it, then shave it off. Seems to be a sensible thing to do. Now, here's the funny thing. Like our friend Miss K points out, men often do not know what really attracts women about them. They don't know. I'd like to add that possibly one of the reasons for this is that women don't know either. Okay, wasn't there that comedian? I think he's died now, but he used to yell at the top of his voice, "Women they just have one thing that they want in order to be happy, just one thing, but they won't tell us what it is." So maybe that's why he died early. I don't know. No bad humour intended. But anyway, that brings us to the whole thing about what to do about age. Well, if you haven't paid your debts up front, see, I remember being a musician, being isolated as a musician because I didn't drink and I didn't smoke. So I was kind of a little bit of a weirdo, you know. Now, I was in the same band for about 7 years, and we were on the road, 13 or 14 piece band. We were on the road and we toured everywhere, toured all over every night. Sometimes we didn't have a night off for 6 weeks. So and then we'd get maybe 1 or 2 nights off, and then we'd be back on the road again, working just as hard, slapping up and down the country. And when the guys would get to the gig, we'd have a roadie who would get all the gear off and set everything up, so we just took care of our own stuff, maybe carried a piece in just to help out, but mainly it was done by someone else. So everybody would get ready, they'd be ready to go on stage, because we wouldn't be there a day before the gig, because it was an in and out on the same day, same evening. So we may be arriving at 4 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 o'clock, with a start to the gig at 8 o'clock at night. So 7 o'clock or 6:30, everybody would have, by say 6 o'clock or 6:30, everybody would have been out and had a meal, an Indian or a Chinese or something like that, and they would have come back, and then they would head for the bar. Now, at first, when I first joined that band, I was invited, "Why don't you come and have a drink?" So I used to say, I stopped saying this after a while, but I used to say, well, I don't drink, but I'll come along and watch. And I soon found out that the last thing in the world a drinker wants is for someone to watch him. Because in his heart of hearts, or his brain of brain, he knows that he's going to make a damn fool of himself once he gets past a certain point of, what shall we say, overload. So, in the end, I didn't get invited to, poor me, I didn't get invited to go for a drink. I would go, but why would I go along and pay for rounds of beer, shorts, scotch, rum? Why would I do that when I'm having a Pepsi Cola and nursing that one too? So I wasn't included. And so that's what I mean about paying my debt up front. So I paid up front. I didn't do any drugs at all. I'm not a goody-goody. I just thought it was a bad idea. And I watched both drugs and booze destroy some wonderful people. Now, that doesn't mean that someone who's going to sit down and have a beer tonight is going to be destroyed. It doesn't mean that at all. What it means is that someone who gets smashed very regularly is going to have a bill to pay later in life. And I've spoken to many people that I was in that band with. Some of them I had to speak to through prayer because they'd already gone up there. And others had really severe medical problems, one with cancer, just severe medical problems that must have been brought on by the abuse of various substances, or certainly was not helped. So, having paid my debt up front, I enjoy a certain amount of good health now. That doesn't mean that I don't fall on my face and break my collarbone, or overdo it at the gym and end up having a sciatic nerve trapped which lays me up for a few months. It doesn't mean that at all, because those things happen. My wife actually said to me, well, I suffer ill health, but you have accidents. So I've had my share of accidents where things have happened to me, and I've suffered some injuries, but those are injuries and not ill health. But maybe in accordance with some of my expressed beliefs on this about why does something happen to one guy and it doesn't happen to another, maybe I'm giving myself what I try to give everybody. So, I'm about to start a 100-day challenge, because one of the things that I noticed about getting older is you definitely get weaker. As I said, I'm 78, coming up 78 in July, and I notice, surprise, surprise, that I can't do as much as I used to do. Well, this is what I think happens to a lot of people. The drinking, smoking, all of the health medication, all of that aside, we all have a certain action level. We have a level of activity, a level of activity which we enjoy, and that gradually erodes, and you gradually give in to getting a little bit weaker. And the way that I equate this is to the person who gradually starts to put on weight, and they do notice it because belts get tighter, zippers break, clothes are not as comfortable. Well, you've got two chances at this. What you can do is you can buy bigger clothes, or you can get yourself back in shape or not, which requires more willpower than buying the bigger clothes. So that's what I find, and as I said, the statistic reports on our channel tell us that a lot of our viewers are over the age of 60, and as I said in one of my comments, comment replies, I said 60 is now becoming a increasingly distant and fond memory for me. So I know that I've got to do something about it. So I'm going to give myself a 100-day challenge, but that's for another video. and I'm going to be going into reviving some of the exercises that I used to do. I'm not a pro bodybuilder, I'm not a body beautiful, but I do weigh barely more than a couple of pounds more than I weighed when I was probably 18 or 20, and that's a fact. So I'm going to show what I can do while telling you in very embarrassed tones what I used to be able to do. And my 100-day challenge to myself is to see if and how long it will take to reinstate that level of fitness, if it can ever be reinstated. I used to be able to do, at the high point of being super fit, in my last days in Florida, I used to be able to do 100 push-ups. So that's my benchmark for whether I've made it back to being fit. I'm not going to kill myself, and I am going to be very careful, but I'm going to try, because if you don't try, nothing will happen. Well, something will happen. You get older and in increasingly worse condition. So that's the thing about the age thing. Chris, I'm not growing the beard back right now because my wife likes. Does that make me a wimp? Yes, but I'm loved, so I'll put up with you thinking that I look old as long as my wife thinks that I look younger. Not that I give a damn about either, because it is what it is. And the thing, I think the old singer, Hollywood actress Doris Day said, "Don't worry about getting old. It will happen without your help." And I think that's a good quote to end on. So, age. What the heck? This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for